Second Avenue subway, it's unique in many ways because we have been building in the densest urban setting that there is in the United States.
This excavation of Second Avenue subway is one of the most complex projects you could be on. It is a collaboration of lots of people that bring in various expertise to the table. It doesn't happen overnight, it doesn't happen by default. There's a lot of planning, a lot of efforts, and a lot of energy that goes into making a tunnel.
First decision you have to make is, how am I going to excavate the rock? And the decision here was to use a tunnel boring machine.
So in the old days, we had to shut down Second Avenue and we have excavated the street back then. It's quite disruptive to the neighborhood, quite disruptive to the people who work in the area and trying to live and commute there. The tunnel boring machine allows us to make a small, very localized area of work, lower the machine and work underground, undetected. We worked about 30, 40 blocks from 94th Street all the way down to 63rd Street. People had no idea that there's this monster of a big machine, the beast under the ground, under the city, and is drilling and making a huge tunnel right in front of their doorsteps without them even knowing about it, 7, 8 floors below grade under the rock of Manhattan, of New York City.
The Manhattan schist is a hard rock, but it's a tricky rock. It has a lot of faults in it, it has a lot of seams, and you have to watch it carefully as you mine.
The tunnel boring machine grabs on the walls as it excavates the tunnel, so it braces itself on the two sides of the wall, and it pushes itself ahead hydraulically as it grinds the rock.
So as the machine advances, we immediately put in rock bolts behind a shield that's right behind the machine to protect the workers. That ground stabilization is of utmost importance, and then monitoring it as we go.
I was here when the tunnel boring machine was mining the rock on the first tunnel. I arrived about midway. I was doing the geologic mapping for that, so it was a very dynamic situation. A lot can change literally in a few hours.
There are some things you can predict. There's many, many things you can't.
Because on any job, when you're underground, you don't know what you're going to have. And probably the best example of that is the situation we had up on 92nd Street when we discovered that this was supposed to be a rock tunnel all the way, but there was one section that we discovered was missing rock.
It was actually a big valley of soil. The tunnel boring machine needs to have rock to grind through. Without having the rock area, the tunnel boring machine can't progress.
A significant issue from an engineering standpoint. We were in a race against time to come up with an engineering solution.
So we gathered in there the engineers, the designers, the MTA, the contractors, everybody who had many, many years of experience in solving these problems. And we came up with a method to freeze the ground. What we did, we installed 3 massive refrigerant units, and we drilled probes in the ground where we froze the ground. 2 city blocks were actually frozen up, making it a big ice chunk. So the entire 6 or 7 floors of soil was frozen into one big chunk of ice. Meanwhile, the machine was tunneling on the other side. So we didn't stop. We didn't get set back on the project. We used the problem to have another opportunity, did the work on the other side and moved back to the frozen ground, drilled through it, and very successfully were able to drill through the area that was not navigable before.
That was really an engineering marvel of Second Avenue.
Basically, a year later, we were already downtown on 63rd Street, and we were able to see literally the light at the end of the tunnel because we went from one end to another and we made the connection.
All the people who participated in the work for the last 2-3 years gathered in the area to see the breakthrough of the machine. It's like giving birth to something new. It's like a new life that came out of rock. The machine opened up the entire Upper East Side to the existing city, as if you opened up a closed room to an existing palace, and it was a great feeling.
And for me personally, it was even more memorable because I got to name the tunnel boring machine the name of my granddaughter that was 2.5 years old, and I felt that, hey, she will be the one to eventually be utilizing the Second Avenue subway.
When the tunnel boring machine work was done, then the next step was to do the excavation of the station caverns. Those are taken out sequentially by drilling, blasting, supporting the ground.
The biggest accomplishments were to be able to blast a cavern next to buildings where people live. and minimize the disruption to the community.
The fact that we had over 200 fragile buildings along the corridor, really fragile structures, and we were going to be doing blasting within close proximity, causing vibration. We entered into agreements with those building owners and went in and reinforced buildings as needed in advance of our work.
We had a great crew that was underground, the Sandhogs. They did an excellent job with the drill and blast.
And once the large cavern is open, then we concrete it in lifts, put in a mezzanine slab, put in arches, and then eventually the escalator ways and the elevator ways and all the associated stuff that you see in a final product.
It's like a puzzle that you're putting together. You have all these mechanical systems, you got the electrical systems, you got the plumbing systems, you got the waterproofing systems, you have the architectural systems. All of them have to work in unison for the station to work. And that in itself is a major accomplishment.
A team of people of expertise of New York City only can be in New York City. You can find this kind of people, this passion, this amount of effort and dedication to get the work done and excavate the 2nd Avenue subway, bringing in a new life to the Upper East Side. I think I'm so proud of being part of that team.
It's a great feeling. It was a big accomplishment. When we looked at this back in 2007, it was nothing. It was just rock.
I think there's no limits to what we can do. 2nd Avenue is an example of what can be done.
It's a privilege to be able to help deliver a project like 2nd Avenue subway.
What I want people to remember about the construction of Phase 1 is one thing: we've done it.